Today we'll be looking at all the pistols that Starfield has to offer and their respective stats. Depending on the pistol, it can range from super common to ultra rare, each with their own stats and effects that can make them extremely unique and useful depending on your preferred playstyle. And as I talk about each one, you will see my absolutely terrible aim, but will overall witness what each gun is like in combat and has to offer. There are a total of 34 pistols in Starfield since its initial release, so buckle up as we roll through them one by one. But before we do, go ahead and like and subscribe, as it really helps me reach my sub goal of 2K by the new year. Also, for those of you who want a visual of these stats, I'll have a link down in the description that will show you all of these stats I'll be talking about today. Also, something to note before we get started with this list is no perks are active that might change any of these stats, and all of these weapons are as you find them and not modified or have been calibrated to level scaling. This means that these pistols are only in their base form and with several modifications can be modified to make them even better. I'll do a separate video going over which mods will be the best variant per weapon, as I feel it will be useful for those who enjoy a weapon, but that weapon just seems to be falling short on the performance side. So without further ado, let's start off with energy-based weapons. The first energy-based pistol is the Ember. Now, this pistol is absolutely crazy. As you can see, when you shoot a target, they combust into flames, and you see their health drain from them as the fire burns them slowly. This gun is one of the most fun guns to play with. You can just spread arson and chaos throughout your journey. Now, the stats of this gun are: it has a base damage output of 12 energy damage, a fire rate of 25, and holds 16 rounds in its magazine, and has a range of 24. Overall, it's a very good gun. Not only that, but you can see that there are 3 mods being attached to this weapon, which are standard barrel with laser sight, focal lens, and ignition beams. At number 2 for energy-based pistols, we have the Short Circuit. Now, the Short Circuit was an interesting gun, but as you can see when I'm shooting these enemies, the damage output doesn't seem to be doing all that well. But it could have been that the pirates have a different set of armor that protects them from energy much more than the previous Ecliptic soldiers that the Ember was shooting. But overall, in terms of damage output, this pistol has a lot to make up for. Going over the stats, it has a damage output of 10 energy and a fire rate of 29, and holds 22 rounds in its magazine, and has a range of 32. It also has an effect to it called the Disassembler, which adds 20% damage against robots. Not only that, but it utilizes 3 of 7 mods: the long barrel with laser sight, stealth lasers, and overclocked. The third energy-based pistol we will be looking at is the Solstice. Now, the Solstice also left me wanting more in terms of damage output, but again, it could have been the type of armor that the enemy was wearing, but overall, I feel like it could just give more, but with modifications and upgrading skill perks, it could easily get there. Now, the Solstice is the base energy weapon, as the Short Circuit and Ember are the 2 modified weapons of the original Solstice, making the Solstice basically the parent gun, where the modified versions is the Ember and Short Circuit. Now, the Solstice has a base energy damage of 10 and a fire rate of 25, holding 16 rounds in its magazine, and has a range of 30. It is the least modified weapon out of the previous 2, as there are 0 of 7 mods acquired, and therefore you have the most freedom to upgrade it however you want moving forward if you choose the Solstice to be your lucky sidearm. The next type of pistols we will be looking at is electromagnetic pistols. These pistols, in my opinion, are extremely cool as they deal physical and energy-based damage. So coming at number 4, we have the Novalight. As you can see, something really interesting about this gun is the tracer it leaves, and as well as the bullet hole it leaves behind in the ground or on surfaces. As you can see, there's a little bit of a swirl to it, and I think that's just really cool. Not only that, but the Novalight was the first electromagnetic pistol I found in Starfield, and ever since I found it the original time, I have been having a blast with it. The stats for this gun are: it deals 8 physical damage and 25 energy damage, and has a fire rate of 22, holding 12 rounds in its magazine, and has a range of 30. Now, the Novalight has 0 of 7 mods equipped, so you can go ahead and modify this gun however you like. So coming in at number 5, we have the Terror Inflictor, which is another electromagnetic weapon. The Terror Inflictor is such a fun gun to use. I mean, just look at the way it takes everyone out with minimal effort. It is such a cool weapon. The stats for this weapon are as follows: it has a 21 physical damage output, as well as a 65 energy output. The fire rate is 34, and has a mag size of 12 with a range of 36. There's 4 mods that come with this gun, and it includes a long barrel, a reflex sight, overclocked, and burst fire. It also has a special effect of demoralizing, which gives a small chance to demoralize a target. The 6th weapon we're looking at is the Spacer. This is a rare particle beam pistol, and as you can see, it is a special variant of the Novalight. It absolutely shreds lower to middle range enemies, as the high physical and energy damage output really does its toll against any number of enemies, regardless of their level. It has a 9 physical damage output with a 30 energy damage output, and has a fire rate of 25, a mag size of 12, and a range of 36. This weapon comes with 5 mods: a laser sight, reflex sight, focus nozzle, annihilator rounds, and overclocked. It also has a special effect to it, which is called Space Adept, which gives the player a plus 30% damage while in space and negative 15% damage while on a planet. So this gun is definitely for those who are mostly in space, which can be very useful as energy-based weapons have little to no gravity influence while in zero-G environments. The 7th weapon we're going to be looking at is the Varun Starshard. This weapon is crazy. As you can see, it absolutely demolishes its enemies no matter who they are. It literally puts them down in 1 to 2, maybe 3 shots for lower and mid-ranged level enemies, just easily brushing past most of these enemies and just bulldozing through them. It's an absolutely insane weapon, and it's definitely one of my favorites. The stats for this weapon is it has a physical damage output of 26 and a energy damage output of 80. It has a fire rate of 12 and also holds 12 rounds in its magazine and has a range of 30. It has 0 mods equipped, so you have the ability to upgrade and modify it however you please to make it an even better insane pistol. At number 8, we have the Ace Sidearm. The Ace Sidearm is a relatively fairly cool pistol, as it has a few modifications to it that I think add to its overall essence. I think it's a pretty fun gun to use, but as you can see, the damage output isn't amazing, but the fire rate is pretty high. Moving to the stats of the Ace firearm, it deals 15 physical damage, has a fire rate of 40, and a mag size of 12 with a range of 20. It already has 5 mods equipped to it, which is the Recon Laser Sight, the Reflex Sight, Muzzle Brake, Armor Piercing Rounds, and High Powered. It also has a rare special effect to it, which is Anti-Personnel, which adds 10% damage against any human combatants, which is very useful. As you can see, in Starfield, you go against a lot of enemy human combatants. At number 9, we have the Memento Mori. The Memento Mori is one of 2 legendary pistols in this list. As you can see, it has a fairly high damage output with a very high fire rate. It is super fun to use as it feels like a very powerful pistol. It deals 17 physical damage and has a fire rate of 40, holding 17 rounds in its magazine and has a range of 20. It also has equipped 4 mods: a laser sight, a tactical grip, explosive rounds, and high powered. Not only that, but it also has 3 special effects to it: crippling, cornered, and demoralizing. Crippling deals plus 30 damage on the next attack after hitting a target's limbs. It also has cornered, which is damage increases as health decreases, and demoralizing, which gives a small chance to demoralize a target. This gun is one of the best in the actual game. It's definitely one of the most fun to play with. Number 10 is the Rattler. The Rattler is one of the most basic weapons in Starfield, as it is one of the most fairly common pistols in the game, but as you can see, it works fairly like the EON, which we'll cover later in the video, but there's nothing special about this gun except for its modification ability and upgrade potential. This pistol has a physical damage output of 10 and a fire rate of 50 with a mag size of 12 and a range of 20. As you can see, there's 0 mods equipped to this gun, so it is up to you, the user, to equip mods however you see fit, according to your playstyle. Number 11 is the Sidestar. The Sidestar is another base weapon, but as you can see, the damage output is a little bit higher than the previous Rattler, and that's really cool as it keeps the same fire rate and has a little bit larger mag size. With that being said, it has a physical damage output of 12, a fire rate of 40, a mag size of 17, and a range of 20. At number 12, we have the Zapper. The Zapper is absolutely one of the craziest guns in the game, as I feel like it is just so much more than a base physical damage weapon. As you can see, it does electrical damage to nearby enemies and can even arc between enemies who are electrified. It's one of the coolest sounding guns to use in the game and is one of my favorite to actually use, and trust me, this gun you don't want to pass up or give it up. This is one you're going to want to keep. It has a physical damage output of 12, a fire rate of 104, the most we've seen so far, with a mag size of 28 and a range of 24. 5 mods are equipped to this weapon, which is long barrel, compensator, large magazine, high powered, and binary trigger, which is why it's no surprise to see such a high fire rate and magazine size. Not only that, but it has a rare special effect of Tesla, which means rounds will sometimes emit electricity where they land that damages and slows nearby targets. So for those of you who like to play with bullets that create electricity, this gun is one hell of a weapon. At number 13, we have the infamous Keelhauler. The Keelhauler is one of the most famous gun in the game, as it's been pushed to social media as one of the best guns in the game, and there's no surprise to see why. As you can see, I'm absolutely shredding enemies, and it is just barreling through them. It is an amazing weapon to have on your side, and it does so much for you in terms of damage output and usefulness. So the stats for this gun are as follows. It has a 53 physical damage output, which is absolutely insane, with a fire rate of 140. It has a mag size of 6, which is a little bit of a letdown, as it really is a nerf to the overall weapon. It has a range of 24, and there's 4 of 6 mods equipped. The long barrel, the recon laser sight, a compensator, and fully automatic. It also has 3 special effects to it, as it is a legendary weapon. It has staggering, berserker, and frenzy. Staggering causes a small chance to stagger enemies, berserker does more damage the less armor one has, and frenzy gives a small chance to frenzy a target, making this weapon an absolute beast in terms of combat capabilities. Number 14 is the Magshot. The Magshot is also probably one of the best basic pistols you can find in the game, as it has a fairly high damage output with its fire rate. As you can see though, it's not a special weapon or anything like that. As a base weapon, it's probably better than any of the other basic pistols out there. It has a physical damage output of 53, a fire rate of 25, a magazine that can hold 6 rounds, and a range of 20. It has 0 of 6 mods equipped, so you have the ability as the player to upgrade it as you see fit in terms of your playstyle. At number 15, we have the Mutineer. The Mutineer is another variation and a very popular one amongst those who really want to have the best in the game, as it is another variation of the Magshot, just like the Keelhauler. This weapon has a bit higher range and can do a lot of damage, but as you can see, it is moving through these combatants fairly quickly. The damage output it has is 67 physical damage with a fire rate of 161, and has a mag size of 6, which is pretty much the only way you can nerf this gun, as it is an absolute beast. It has a range of 30 and has 4 of 6 mods equipped. It has magnetic rails, compensator, depleted uranium rounds, and fully automatic. It also has a special effect that we've seen before called Space Adept, which adds 30% more damage while in space and negative 15% damage while on a planet. Even on a planet though, you can see this weapon does a lot of damage. At number 16, we have the Trickshot. The Trickshot is much like the Mutineer, except its fire rate is significantly less, but has a few other things going for it. If we look at the stats, it has 67 physical damage output with a fire rate of 34, and again holds 6 rounds in its magazine, but does have a range of 30. It has 4 of 6 mods equipped, the magnetic rails, compensator, depleted uranium round, and hair trigger. The special effect it has is skip shot. Every 4th shot fires 2 projectiles at once, giving it that extra damage boost that makes it one of the top tier pistols in the game. At number 17, we have the Ambassador. The Ambassador is also a really cool gun, as I believe it is one of the top pistols in the game. As you can see, it is just absolutely insane in terms of fire rate and damage output. With that being said, the physical damage output you see is 35 with a fire rate of 109 and has a mag size of 8 and a range of 24. It has 4 mods equipped, which is the long barrel, the laser sight, reflex sight, and binary trigger. It also has a special effect called Shattering, which what this effect does is it breaks through even the strongest armor, making this weapon even more OP. Number 18 is the Elegance, which is very similar to the Ambassador, except it has significantly more base damage, and as you can see, it definitely is expressing such strength. It has a physical damage output of 48 with a fire rate of 109 with a mag size of 8 and range of 17. It has 5 of 7 mods equipped, which is the reflex sight, suppressor, penetrator rounds, high powered, and binary trigger. It also has a special effect called Shattering, which we went over previously, which breaks through even the strongest armor, making this weapon even more OP than its predecessor, the Ambassador. Number 19 is Marathon. The Marathon, for those of you who are absolutely in love with going fast and going strong, the Marathon is the one for you. This pistol is super lightweight and super fast and is just amazing in terms of weight, powered, fire rate, everything like that. It is quite literally an amazing weapon. Now, it has a 39 physical damage output with a fire rate of 33 and a mag size of 7. It also has a range of 18 and has 5 of 7 mods equipped. These mods are the recon laser sight, the reflex sight, a short suppressor, a tactical magazine, and hair trigger. It also has a special effect to it, as it is a rare pistol called Titanium Build. This means that it has a premium build, which makes this weapon light as a feather, which is super important for those of you trying to be as fast and as quick as possible with the lightest amount of weight. Number 20 is the Regulator. The Regulator is another base pistol, as you can see. It's not amazing or anything like that. It is definitely better than a lot of the other basic pistols, but as you can see, it has a lot to work with. It has a physical damage output of 35 with a fire rate of 18. It holds 8 rounds in its magazine and has a range of 20. It also has 7 mod slots and 0 of them are equipped, so you can go ahead and and modify this weapon however you like, whatever fits your playstyle. Number 21 is Solace. The Solace is a very interesting gun as it is a very basic weapon. It is just a variant of a previous pistol we've seen before, and all it does is it comes with 6 mods. Now, as you can see, it does pretty well with the mods that it has, but it is just a unique weapon. It has a physical damage output of 39 with a fire rate of 30 and has a magazine capacity of 7 with a range of 24. And like I said previously, it has 6 of 7 mods equipped: a long barrel, a laser sight, a reflex sight, a compensator, a tactical grip, and a hair trigger to make it even faster fire rate. Number 22 is the Urban Eagle. The Urban Eagle is a really cool and fun gun to play with. As you can see, it is short, it is concise, but it has a pretty good amount of power. It has 39 physical damage and 25 fire rate with 7 rounds in its magazine and a range of 20. There's 0 of 7 mods acquired for the Urban Eagle, and I truthfully believe that this weapon is probably one of the most modifiable weapons in the game. Not only that, but it is probably the most useful in terms of having a sidearm pistol. Number 23 is the Old Earth Pistol. The Old Earth Pistol is an oldie but a goodie. We are looking at an old 1911 pistol renamed the Old Earth Pistol in Starfield, and as you can see, it looks amazing. It has a physical damage output of 28, a fire rate of 67, and a mag size of 9 and a range of 20. There are 4 mod slots that you can use for this weapon to customize it however you like, making it an even better weapon. Number 24 is Sir Livingstone's pistol. Sir Livingstone's pistol is just a variation of the Old Earth pistol, but with a slight few modifications. As you can see, it does relatively the same thing, but if we take a closer look at its stats, you'll see a relatively big difference. It has a physical damage output of 28, a fire rate of 67, with an increased mag size of 15 and a range of 24. It has 2 of 4 mods equipped, as you can see, which is a large magazine and an increased high velocity. Number 25 is Vampire's Sidearm. The Vampire Sidearm is a super cool pistol, especially for those of you who are always looking for med packs. As you can see, sometimes when you kill an enemy, you will have a chance that humans drop extra med packs on their death. It has a physical damage output of 28, a fire rate of 80, and a mag size of 15 with a range of 18. It has 3 of 4 mods equipped, which is the short suppressor, large magazine, and hair trigger, making that fire rate even higher. And like I said before, the special effect this has is med theft, which is the chance that humans drop extra med packs on death. Number 26 is the XM2311. Now, it only took 400 years for this next variant to come out, the 400-year variant of the 1911. As you can see, it has really good fire rate and really good damage output, and is an overall very reliable weapon. Looking at the stats, it has a 36 physical damage output with a fire rate of 67 and a mag capacity of 9 with a range of 20. There are 0 of 5 mods equipped to this weapon, so you can really upgrade this weapon however you like, making it that much more reliable. Number 27 is the Kraken. The Kraken is another base pistol in this game that is fairly common around Starfield, and it is fairly fun to use as it's like a little MP9. With a fast fire rate and low damage output, it absolutely shreds enemies up close. As you can see, it has a physical damage output of 3 with a fire rate of 150 and a mag size of 25 with a range of 20. It has 0 of 6 mod slots equipped, so feel free to upgrade this weapon however you like. Number 28 is the Street Sweeper. The Street Sweeper is a very cool gun. It is a variant of the Kraken that we just covered, and it absolutely blows through enemies. With a physical damage output of 3 and a fire rate of 180 and a mag size of 25 with a range of 24 and 3 mod slots of 6 equipped, which is the bull barrel, reflex sight, and hair trigger, this gun is an absolute powerhouse. Not only that, but it also has a special effect of lacerate, which randomly applies a bleed effect to the target. So something that already absolutely shreds through enemies just gives it that extra damage type to make them bleed out, causing the enemy to die even quicker. Number 29 is Deadeye. Deadeye is a super cool gun as it is a variant of something we will cover later on, but as you can see, it has a very cool design to it and looks very snazzy while wandering the Starfield universe. It has a damage output of 61 with a fire rate of 12 and a mag size of 6 with a range of 40. It has 2 of 8 mod slots equipped, which is the laser sight and penetrator rounds. Number 30 is the Razorback. Now, the base variant to the Deadeye is the Razorback, which as you can see is just the Deadeye without its snazzy design and extra mod slots, making this gun the base pistol for any type of futuristic revolver. As you can see, it has a physical damage output of 51 with a fire rate of 12, has 6 rounds in its magazine, and has a range of 40, but has 0 of 8 mods equipped, so you can go ahead and make this gun into whatever type of gun you like through modifications and upgrades. Number 31 is the Prime. The Prime is another variant of the Razorback pistol. As you can see, it has significantly different style and has a a longer scope attached to it, giving it a more rifle-like aesthetic. It has a base damage output of 61 with a fire rate of 12 and a mag size of 6, but has an increased range of 48. It has 5 of 8 mods equipped, which are the laser sight, recon scope, muzzle brake, penetrator rounds, and high velocity. Not only that, but it also comes with a special effect called Elemental, which randomly deals corrosive, radiation, poison, and incendiary damage, making this pistol one to be reckoned with. Number 32 is the Unfair Advantage. Probably my most favorite variant of the Razorback is Unfair Advantage. As you can see, it's got a significantly shorter barrel, but a significantly higher fire rate, making the damage output absolutely insane as it keeps up with the previous Razorback's damage, as the caliber of pistol is just insane. It has a physical damage output of 51 with a fire rate of 75, keeping that 6-round magazine though with a range of 36, which is still relatively long in terms of other pistols even though its barrel is shorter. It has 6 of 8 mods equipped, which is the short barrel, laser sight, reflex sight, compensator, tactical grip, and binary trigger. It also has a special effect called Radioactive, which randomly deals radioactive damage and demoralizes the target. This is absolutely one of my favorite Razorback variants as it is just so fun to play with. Number 33 is the EON. The EON is absolutely insane and it is probably the most reliable and most versatile gun in this game. It is probably the most common as well, as you will find it in many regions almost all the time on any type of bad guy. It has a physical damage output of 10 and a fire rate of 50, holding 12 rounds in its magazine, and it has a range of 20. It has 0 of 6 mods equipped, so you can go ahead and modify this gun however you choose, however it fits your playstyle. And lastly, number 34, we have the Radburn. The Radburn is a super cool variant of the EON as it has a little special effect that adds radioactive damage and demoralizes the target, making the EON that much more useful. It has a physical damage output of 7 with a fire rate of 114 and a mag size of 12 and a range of 20. It has a physical damage output of 7 and an energy output of 1. It also has 4 of 6 mod slots equipped, which are the compensator, the white hot rounds with hair trigger and binary trigger combined. And like I said, it also has a special effect called Radioactive, which randomly deals radioactive damage and demoralizes the target. But with its increased fire rate, it definitely makes it one of the coolest pistols in the game. And there you have it, guys, all 34 pistols in Starfield and their stats, as well as a little bit of gameplay. This video was quite long, so thanks for sticking around. Feel free to leave a comment as to which pistol you guys like the most or look forward to using, and feel free to click on one of the following videos, and don't forget to subscribe.